People often believe negative thoughts appear suddenly, as if they arrive from nowhere. But if you observe carefully, you begin noticing something uncomfortable. Most thoughts are conditioned. They are shaped by past humiliation, childhood experiences, rejection, insecurity, social comparison, and hidden fears that have been quietly growing for years beneath the surface. The problem is not that people have negative thoughts. The problem is that they obey them automatically. A man fails once in public, and his mind whispers, "Never risk embarrassment again." Years later, he calls himself cautious, when in reality, he has become afraid. A woman experiences betrayal, and suddenly suspicion becomes her personality. Another person is criticized repeatedly in childhood, and eventually their inner voice begins sounding exactly like the people who wounded them. This is how the mind traps people, not through dramatic destruction, but through repetition. One thought repeated enough times becomes belief. Belief repeated enough times becomes identity. Identity repeated enough times becomes destiny. Most people never notice this process happening. They think they are making rational decisions, when in reality they are reacting to old emotional programming. Their fears feel logical because they have rehearsed them for so long. Robert Greene often speaks about the importance of self-awareness because human beings are deeply irrational creatures who desperately want to believe they are rational. We create stories about why we hesitate, why we procrastinate, why we avoid challenges. But beneath those explanations is usually fear. Fear of rejection, failure, judgment, or loss of control. The dangerous thing about negative thoughts is that they disguise themselves as protection. The mind says, do not trust people. Do not speak too confidently. Do not try too hard. Do not dream too big. And because these thoughts sound cautious, people mistake them for wisdom. But over time, caution quietly transforms into limitation. I once knew a man who was incredibly intelligent, talented, and disciplined, yet he remained invisible his entire life because he feared criticism more than regret. Every opportunity that appeared before him was immediately followed by an inner voice explaining why he was not ready. He spent years preparing for a life he never entered. This is the tragedy of many human beings. They wait until they feel fearless before they act. But confidence is not born from certainty. It is born from surviving uncertainty repeatedly. Ancient warriors understood something modern people often forget. The mind must be trained like the body. If left undisciplined, it becomes weak, reactive, and easily manipulated by emotion. A person who cannot control their thoughts becomes vulnerable to everything around them: social pressure, anxiety, envy, trends, opinions, and fear. And the modern world profits from distracted, emotionally reactive people. Notice how easily negativity spreads. Fear captures attention faster than peace. Outrage spreads faster than wisdom. Human beings are naturally drawn toward threat because the brain evolved for survival, not fulfillment. This is why negative thinking can become addictive. It creates the illusion of control. If you expect disappointment, you believe you cannot be surprised. If you imagine worst-case scenarios constantly, you feel prepared. But in reality, you are only rehearsing suffering before it arrives. There is an old saying, "The mind is an excellent servant, but a terrible master." Most people never learn the difference. They spend their lives imprisoned by internal narratives they did not consciously choose. Observe people closely, and you will notice that many are not reacting to the present moment at all. They are reacting to memory. A harmless comment reminds them of the past rejection. A delay triggers abandonment fears. Silence becomes proof of disapproval. The past quietly contaminates the present until they can no longer separate reality from projection. This is why self-observation is power, not shallow positivity, not pretending darkness does not exist, but the ability to step outside yourself and ask, is this thought actually true, or is it simply familiar? That question alone can interrupt years of unconscious behavior. The strongest individuals are not those who never experience negative thoughts. They are the ones who refuse to build their identity around them. They understand that the mind produces fear naturally, just as the body produces sweat under heat. Neither should automatically control your actions. In the end, your life is shaped less by what happens to you, and more by which thoughts you repeatedly allow authority over your mind. Because eventually, the voice you listen to most becomes the person you become.